Mm.
virtually no one knew that Ray of Light was a cover because it was a cover of an extremely obscure song. And to this day, when I say to people, Ray of Light is a cover, they're like, no, 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 it wasn't. That's like Madonna's song. No, it wasn't.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Inside the Reaction. It is your boy, Black Pegasus. And today we're going to talk about what makes a cover, what is a cover, and what makes it great. With that question, I want to put to the forefront one of the biggest performers of the 80s and the 90s. That's right, she has one name. You have any guesses? Yep, it's Madonna. Madonna. Anyways, Madonna had a huge hit that I haven't heard that I just found out is also a cover. So in this episode, we got to uncover the covers, you guys. I want to bring in it's not a special guest, but he is a special guest, but he's the co-host. He's an author, all things music. I mean, he's a music historian. Anyways, I want to bring in the one and only Tim Sommer to help your boy out. Tim, what's up?
Pegasus, it is always truly a pleasure to be on this show and to be with someone who thinks about music and listens with such open ears and digests it with such an open mind. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Before we did this series, did you were familiar with the term cover? Like if someone said, "Oh, I'm covering this song," or "This artist covered a song," you knew what that meant, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to talk about this song, "Ray of Light" by
Mm.
Madonna, and I have a confession for you, Pegasus.
Let me open the confessional. My son, da, 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 da. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
I think this is my favorite single of the 1990s.
Oh, wow. That's a big feat.
This was the title song off of Madonna's 1998 Ray of Light album. And I have to
Mm.
say, I keep on coming back to it that with all of the amazing songs of the 1990s, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, the band that I was fortunate enough to work with, Hootie and the Blowfish, for
Mhm.
all of those bands, I have to say, Ray of Light, which we're about to listen to, Pegasus, I think it's my favorite single of the 1990s.
Wow. Now that is a big feat, you guys. Remember, Tim is a superstar. He just popped up on Netflix now with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Now, talking with you, you're obviously open-minded people. And are you afraid that maybe rock and roll music or pop music isn't quite the way to vent? For an open-minded person, a person with a lot of musical ideas, you can still express it through rock and pop.
Okay, I'm taking this serious. All right,
Good.
let's listen to it. Let's do this. This is a Ray of Light by Madonna. All right, let me get a pause.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know what to expect. You know, when I think of some of the big Madonna songs.
A person with a lot of musical ideas, you can still express it through rock and pop.
I think it's the best medium because you can do almost anything under rock and roll. You know, just the attitude, more or less.
This is a break in it's just different from the things I've heard from Madonna. Like, we're moving in this electronic dance, type of style with
That's right.
this,
It's
you
very
know, with the
producer
pop
driven.
rhythm.
It's very
Yeah,
producer driven.
and
And the
again,
producer
you
the producer is an amazing producer named William Orbit. And again, it's sort of the production and the simplicity, and you hear that two-chord bass thing that
Mhm.
rides through the entire song. It as much as it makes use of Madonna and her persona, this is really a producer song.
Mm. Yeah, and I can feel that. What's really interesting to me, and this is why it's fun to do this reaction with you. This is my first time hearing this song, and really, but when I say that, there is a familiarity here where there's possible in the real world I have heard this. Me just being honest with my audience and not
Sure.
pandering. Because there's some familiarity when she hits the hook. I feel it's like, something I might hear walking through an outlet mall or, you know, in Chipotle or something in line, but until now, it was background noise. Now I'm putting it to the forefront and listening to it. What I wanted to highlight is because I'm here with you and you've told me this is a cover, this is going back to the strength of the writing. The writing is I like it because it's not necessarily straightforward. There's a poetic nature about this chaos or something going on in
Yeah.
your life, this fast-paced thing, but something entering your life, maybe it's a significant other, maybe it's an epiphany, but it makes you feel at home, and the title, "Ray of Light," connects me to that because it's like, like, you know, like, when people are at their 9 to 5 job or this chaos, and they open the door to their house and they close it, and you just the concept of just leaning on your door and being like, I'm home, finally." That's what I feel what the lyrics are presenting to me,
Yeah.
and that is so strong. I have to accredit that to the writing and, maybe to the original, which I haven't heard yet either.
Isn't it interesting, especially a vocalist of the fame and caliber of Madonna? And I knew I said this was a producer song, but I want to say something very special about Madonna and about the specific production and the era of production of this song. Isn't it interesting to hear a song that was this successful, that was this prevalent? You could hear it everywhere, where the vocals are not auto tuned. Those are real
Mm,
vocals. You can hear her going
mhm.
flat, you can hear her going sharp, and it is so refreshing or interesting. I won't say refreshing because I'm not going to say that today's vocals are inferior. But isn't it interesting to hear a time when the biggest performers in the world were still not being auto tuned?
Yes, and this is exactly the type of track that you would get auto-tune, and, you
Yeah,
know, you highlight that, and I wanna also give Madonna her flowers for the run she has had. Like,
yeah,
she's still in the game, but, like, when I
that's right.
think of my playlist, let's say I would have Cyndi Lauper and Madonna in this similar style of playlist, but Madonna's just still moving and shaking and really trucking, and shout out to her for really just, like, being this iconic figure that never has stopped. Like,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful
And
feat
even
as well.
when this song was done, she'd already been going for 16, 17 years.
Mm, yeah, and that's why I said that, because this is more modern. This is like
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, when did," like, this is so from the stuff that I had been exposed to from her early body of work, so absolutely. Anyways, let's continue, guys. We're gonna listen to the rest of, Madonna's "Ray of Light," and I guess I'm about to uncover the original. Let's go.
Quicker than a ray of light. Quicker
Oh.
than a ray of light. Quicker than a ray of light. Got yourself a universe gone quickly, for the color thunder threatens everyone. Someone else will be there through the endless quicker than the ray of light, she's flying. Quicker than the ray of light,
Yeah, there's a lot of different things I like about that song, especially in the breakdown of the production where it let
Yeah,
her shine, and then it comes back into that, like, almost like a rave scene, like, I need to get my glow sticks out.
yeah,
I like the lyrics too, also because I commented on the lyrics before she dropped the lyric, like, the speed of a ray of light, which is a interesting, like, you can start getting philosophical if you want to
yeah.
with the concept of, the way, like, sometimes the ray of light shines down on you, and sometimes you feel like it's in slow motion, but the speed, I don't know, there's something there with those lyrics that I really enjoyed that I could just ramble about forever. Um,
What's terribly interesting here is in this series we've talked about I Fought the Law and I Want
okay.
Candy. Most of the people who knew those songs and knew the versions by The Clash, or knew the versions by Bow Wow Wow, uh, knew those songs were covers.
Mm.
Virtually no one knew that Ray of Light was a cover because it was a cover of an extremely obscure song. And to this day, when I say to people, Ray of Light is a cover, they're like, no, 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 it wasn't. That's like Madonna's song. No, it wasn't. Not only was Ray of Light a cover, it was a cover of a very, very different song. The original version of Ray of Light was a song called Zephyrin, and it was a
Er,
psychedelic folk song recorded by a folk duo named Curtis Muldoon. That's not a person's name, that's the name of a group. Curtis Muldoon was Dave Curtis and Clive Muldoon, and they recorded the song originally titled Zephyrin in 1971, and it sounds very, very little like the Madonna version. So maybe we should listen a little of that, and I'll tell you the interesting story of how a folk song by an obscure English folk duo ended up being a gigantic club hit for Madonna 20 years later.
you guys, Detective Pegasus here with Detective Sommer are gonna uncover this cover that just blew my mind. He's talking about
Yeah.
folk. Anyways, let's go to the original Ray of Light right now. Let's get it.
Zephyr in the sky at night, I wonder, do your tears of mourning sink beneath the sun?
This is insane.
goddess of the universe, come quickly, for the call of thunder threatens everyone. And I feel like I've just got home. And I feel like this stranger's found a home. $100,000, maybe more, came crashing through my door. They came as fast as they could see. Then something happened to me. I cried in terror of the power that filled my ruined life. It burned a cast in my soul. I was nowhere now whole. And I feel like I've just got home.
All right, give me a pause. This is interesting. It's really unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
This is the epiphany I'm having right now. Music is math because the possibilities are infinite. This song has already gone to so many more places, but to know it had this huge leap to Madonna's, like this song is like I need to study it.
Yeah.
This folk. I was gonna pause it earlier because I was like, no, this is rock, bro. Like this one moment in here, I was like, this is rock to me, like the way it's being interpreted through my listening. But this, oh man,
And
the trans.
maybe I was misusing the word folk. I was using the word folk because it is acoustic based, but it
But
probably isn't right to call them a folk duo. It's a
but
very
the
particular
part we
kind of
just ended on
English
was folk.
exotic psychedelic music.
Yeah, but this part we just ended on in the beginning is folk.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
just like, bro, like I'm like, and I guess, that's the cool thing about music. Music was not made to be in a box. So I know we put it in genres to make it make sense and examples and comparisons, but this MFer right here, this is insanity. Like this went in so many different places. Also, the vocal cadences he's using and changing.
Yeah.
Like, so, Madonna and their producer simplified the delivery of
That's
the
right.
vocals and made a unbelievable pop song, an
Yeah.
and not just a pop song, an electronic dance music pop song. And I don't know if that time it reminds me of and I'm not like an expert on this, but I remember Moby was really big, and it kind of reminded me
Mhm.
of being like that type of.
In my dreams, I'm dying of
I just did not and this is what's so cool that you're here, Tim, to enlighten us because
Yeah.
I'm just willing to bet, like, you already kind of was like, hey, most people don't know Ray of Light
No,
is a
they
cover.
don't.
And hearing this, I'm just like, I'm actually in somewhat disbelief because I'm like, that's just insane. Like these moments. Anyways, this is awesome. This is crazy. And again, this goes to the writing as well. Um, but I'm honestly with this song, I caught more of the lyrics with Madonna's because the music is so like easy on the ears. This goes
Yeah.
into so many places. I'm distracted. I can't
It's much more
focus on the
exotic. It's much more
Oh, yes.
exotic.
That's the premier definition and detail that I'm missing. This is very exotic. This is whoo. I'm on a new planet. All right, let's listen. Let's keep rocking. Sepher, is that how you say it?
Zephyrin.
Zephyrin. Okay.
Yeah.
Even the name's exotic. Holy smokes. Zephyrin. All right, let's keep it moving, you guys. This is wild work right here. The detectives kicked down the door. The warrant served. You guys are under arrest, man. We found it. Anyways, let's go.
gathering her spirit, oh, she nature, spare them of their fears. Quicker than a ray of light, then gone, for someone else shall lead them through the testing year.
It almost sounds Spanish. Oh, they're cooking.
You would be right to wonder, how does that end up becoming this giant club hit for Madonna? And in a weird way, it's a fairly direct line. In 1996, that song was written and recorded in 1971.
Mm,
Madonna's version comes out in 1998. In
okay.
1996, an English singer-songwriter named Christine Leach, who was the niece of Clive Muldoon from that duo, Curtis Muldoon.
Okay.
Christine Leach is working with the producer William Orbit, and she says to William Orbit, there's a song that my uncle wrote 25 years ago, and I've always wanted to record it. Maybe we could play around with it, add a few lyrics, change it around a little bit. And she ended up doing a demo version of her uncle's song, retitling it Ray of Light. And it's that demo version which William Orbit brought to Madonna and ended up becoming Ray of Light. And in fact, Christine Leach's demo from 1996 sounds a great deal like the Madonna version, a little more subtle, but it sounds a lot like the Madonna version. So that's how it happens, is the niece of one of the original singers and songwriters decides that she wants to record an updated version, works with the producer William Orbit, and then a few years later, William Orbit brings it to Madonna, and it becomes this full-fleshed, spectacular sonic club experience about past, present, and future called Ray of Light. And again, as you say all the time, it's a circle, it's a road, it's a planetarium, Pegasus. We're all living in a musical planetarium, and we look up in the sky and we spot stars and planets and comets that we've never seen before. And it is up to us whether we just want to sit back and enjoy the experience, or do we want to learn about those planets? Because if we want to, we can. If we don't want to, we can just sit back and enjoy it. And Ray of Light by Madonna is a perfect example of that. We can just enjoy that song, or we can sit back and go, hey, there's something there. There's this 1971 English folk song at the root of all of that. And that's just part of this amazing experience of music.
I see what you did there, Tim. The universe, stars, ray of light. Okay,
Ray of Light
okay.
there.
I
Yeah.
got you. I got you. No, absolutely. And in rap, I guess it could be called a demo, but sometimes it's a reference track, right? And that's so crazy to think that to come from the 70s, from a demo, aka like a reference track, to Madonna's hit Ray of Light. That's insane to me. And that's a beautiful thing to uncover this and maybe shine a light, as detectives do with our magnifying glasses, on the original. Case closed. Holy
Well, look
smokes,
at
you guys.
since we've been talking about covers, I want to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
In the rap world, in the
Mm.
R&B world, when people sample somebody, or when people replay onto a keyboard or with a horn or with a guitar or with whatever, play something that's sort of inspired by a sample, do they think of that as covering? Do they think, well, I'm covering somebody because I'm utilizing something that was originally recorded 10, 15, 20, 50 years ago? Do they think of that as a
Well,
cover? I mean, do
I
you see
don't
an analogy between sampling and
know.
covering?
Yes, so that's an analogy that I've been bringing up to my audience. I was like, they're saying rap is stealing. This is a huge thing. One, oh, it's degenerate. Oh, it's stealing. Oh, and all these weird things. And then I go listen to I fought the law and the law run. Well, that's kind of
Perfect.
degenerate in
Exactly.
its own way. But we're having fun with it. So I'm just, giving a pushback to these very typical things because maybe you just don't understand it. And us as humans are kind of wired to, hey, man, I don't understand that. So I'm going to stay away from it because it might be
Yeah,
dangerous. But yes. So I personally have been, speaking that and saying that I believe sampling is a form of covering. And I kind of stumbled across that epiphany when I heard Disturbed cover Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence.
The sound of silence.
And I was like, yo, hold on. You're saying all this stuff. And yes, I believe that, but I don't believe in general the culture or even music audiences believe that yet. And I think there's a reason for that, but I think people are opening up to these ideas because we're in the age of information. They're kind of like,
that's right.
oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
What's really the difference between that and an orchestra performing something by Mozart or by Bach or by
There's not,
Beethoven? That's covering too. So I'm saying
yeah.
I think there's a relationship between a sample and a cover and an orchestra doing Beethoven. It's all honoring the music and the sound and the inspiration of work of others who came before us.
And that epiphany I had about music being infinite, what you just
Yeah,
said is because there's so many different equations, right? We can play good, bad, the ugly in so many different ways, but a producer can get on a drum pad and do a hip hop good, bad, and the ugly, and there's just infinite equations that music presents, and I
that's right.
think, yeah, but everything you said, I've kinda had that epiphany about a year ago, and I've been trying to present that to my audience, but I don't think that's the normal take. A
I
lot
think
of
it should be
times
though. It should be.
it absolutely should be. And I think everything can have some criticism. We can have some criticism about rap, it's cool, but yes, it definitely should be. Anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of,
This has
Inside
been
the
a
React.
pleasure. This has been a lot of fun today.
Absolutely. And I just want to thank my co-host Tim for being here. He's got a lot of cool things on the way, a new book, potentially a YouTube channel. So make sure you're checking the description for those things. And
And
hey, it's your
48 minutes into the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary, you can see me when I was 22 years old.
22, two. Yes. All right, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure to tap in for the next Inside the Reaction.